Looking back at my short film, audience feedback was very helpful. Throughout the entire production, I was always looking to my peers to give me feedback on my different drafts and my ideas. To begin, I gathered some formative research. As you can see here, I curated some qualitative research by making a short video interviewing a couple friends about what they thought of my first draft. Here's a short clip from the video.
Speaking, because then you get a real feel to what's actually going on.
From this, my friends gave me feedback about what they thought. I then used this feedback and acted upon it. Another method of feedback I used was interviewing a couple of friends in a conversational tone. This was also very helpful for me to get an idea of what they liked and didn't like in my short film. Here's a short clip from one of the conversations I had. So Matthew, what didn't you enjoy about my short film?
I didn't particularly enjoy the part in the park because I didn't really understand why he went there. He sort of just went to the park, sat down, and then walked away. It didn't add anything to the film.
With this feedback in mind, I changed the short film. In my earlier drafts, I had a segment of the homeless man in the park, as you can see on screen here. After this was quite heavily critiqued, I cut this part out and replaced it with some more time in the drug trip, as people commented on the drug trip being too short to convey the emotions I wanted to portray. My audience feedback could not just end there, however. When showing my second draft to people, I used a quantitative way of getting feedback. As you can see, I handed out some questionnaires for people to fill out. With this data, I created some graphs to try and understand what people thought of the film. This method was good as it allowed me to gain a much bigger sample size in a much smaller amount of time compared to interviewing people. I also made sure to get some summative feedback. On screen, you can see a short video I made. Once my film was complete, I showed it to a couple of my friends and made the video interviewing some of my friends on what they thought of the film. This was helpful for me to get a gauge on how successful I'd been in my short film and whether or not they liked my combined products. Here's a short clip from that video.
Dreaming about what he could have, what he wanted to have.
Did you feel that the music appropriately fit the scenes?
I feel like the music was good.
In the research and planning part of my short film, I also made sure to look at some of the audience theories. I really took into account Gurevich's uses and gratifications theory. Gurevich stated that the audience is conceived as active. I made sure to do my own research into an active audience by interviewing a couple of people about whether or not they thought I should leave an ambiguous ending. This was important as I wanted the audience to think about my short film and what it was portraying. I did this research by asking a couple of friends what they thought. They wrote down their responses, as you can see on screen here. Their responses lined up with Gurevich's theory, and then this allowed me to go ahead with the ending I had planned for my short film. I didn't only collect primary research when creating my short film, I also made sure to get some secondary research. To be specific, I did research into the film festival demographics. This was because short films are almost exclusively screened at film festivals. The biggest demographic I looked at was the educational people. 80% of most people were college graduates, as you can see on screen. This allowed me to go ahead with my idea of my short film having strong ties to politics and corporate greed, something I wouldn't be able to include if my audience was uneducated. As you can see, throughout all aspects of my media production, my audience feedback was important. I really wanted to understand what the audience was getting from my short film and if they could understand it. This is really clear in the way I conducted my research. By using lots of qualitative ways of research, such as interviewing people, I was able to get a personal feel of what the person wanted. Whereas when I conducted my quantitative research, I was only able to get raw facts and figures that I couldn't really do that much with. With this, I feel if I was to do it again, I'd focus on interviewing more people. It allowed me to make the biggest positive impacts of my film in terms of improving it across draft to draft. Just an example of this is the removal of the park scenes. Although it was nice to have data, unlike most other things, film is something that is interpreted by the individual and not something that can be made better just by using raw facts and figures.